thank you so much for joining us. I am honored and privileged to have the one and only Dr. Janelle OD with us today. My name is Dr. Adam Ramsey, and I am joined by my co-host, Dr. Darryl Glover, my favorite optometrist. I think he's your favorite too. And we're going to have a great presentation today, and I'm excited to see that we have one of our own coming on that's going to teach us what she's been doing such an excellent job in her practice, and she's going to give us a few pearls of wisdom today and what's worked in her practice, what hasn't worked, and we're going to be able to answer some questions and ask some questions. So without further ado, Dr. Janelle OD, it's on you.
Well, happy Wednesday, happy hump day. Dr. Adam and Dr. Darryl, thanks for inviting me on this evening. I'll try to keep it brief because I do want everybody to have a chance to be able to have some Q&A, but I believe in educated questions. So that way we'll get a little base of information, what I'm doing. This is not new territory, but it's not fully tapped. There are some doctors who have found this space and found a great way to implement it into their practice. A lot of these doctors I've studied and followed them in the background, but it's not a lot of us with brown eyes and brown skin who are doing this. But a lot of our patients are experiencing ocular aesthetics. So we just want to talk about what that is and also take away some of the stigma and the taboo associated with it. So basically, we're talking about ocular aesthetics and creating a self-care niche within your practice because it's a way of enhancing. It's a form of self-care, and that's really big going into 2020. Everybody wants to take care of themselves. A few disclosures. I am a key opinion leader for Lavonis, which we'll talk about them a little bit today, how I've implemented them into my ocular aesthetic practice, and I'm a Rodan field consultant. So if I do talk about some lash serum, I have to disclose I am a consultant for them. I do sell Rodan and fields. This is who I am. I am a mom. I like to show that I'm a wife. I do all this. I built my practice for going on 10 years, and my oldest is 10. So that tells you the entire time that I've been growing this practice. My oldest was 1, and I birthed my second within a couple years of having the practice and still been able to keep the doors open. And a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So what is ocular aesthetics? So what does it mean? And most of these things that I'm talking about is my research and how I've implemented this into my database and what this means for my practice. So ocular aesthetics here means it enables us to promote self-care because eye care is self-care. You don't want to separate the two. And now we're taking it on a deeper level and we're talking about how to enhance the skin, the tissue, the lashes around the eye and be able to do it in a safe manner. So most people want to promote self-care. We want younger, clearer skin. We want lash volume, clear and wider eyes, and youthful vision. And we'll kind of talk about how those are broken down into actual eye care. Ocular aesthetics is a bridge. It's bridging different doctors. I've had some other doctors that I've worked with trying to kind of trial some different things that I want to add on to my spa, but it's allowing me to have conversations in rooms and doors and tables that I may not have been able to have without having an eye spa. So it's a bridge. And if you don't know what this bridge is, that's the Ambassador Bridge. And me being from Detroit, it connects the United States to Canada. So it's connecting optometrists to oculoplastic surgeons, dermatologists, and estheticians. Estheticians are going to be a great partnership to have within your office. So ocular aesthetics, nothing but space and opportunity. I just want to give you some statistics real quick. We're just joking about colored lenses and lashes. Literally everybody is doing it, just not people of color. Some people are more out there, look at me, and most people take that natural approach. So a lot of times you don't even know that these individuals are wearing these lashes and permanent makeup because it's not out there, it's more natural. So there, we're going to talk about the wider and clearer eyes. That's what I break down to my dry eye treatment program. 16.4 million people have dry eye or diagnosed with it. You have another 6 million who are walking around with dry eye that have not been diagnosed. Either they're not in the doctor's office to be diagnosed, and there's still some doctors who are now on the dry eye bandwagon, just telling them to take some tears. Most of those people, we have about 3 million women who are suffering from dry eye disease. So that is plenty of opportunity to be able to grow your practice with just dry eye. And that's dealing with the wider and clearer eyes. That's the goal. If they're not dry, they're going to be nice and white and clear and look younger. Youthful vision. It's going to talk about multifocal contact lenses and color contacts. Plenty of people wear color contact lenses, surprisingly. Today, I fit 2 people with clear and color. So a lot of times if you bring it up, they're interested. specifically women. And then multifocal, that's a big untapped area. Right now, we have Gen X, which is 31 to 50, 82 million. Baby boomers, we have about 76 million. So in a few years, you're gonna have a whole boatload of people who want to be in contacts, who are in contacts, and need these multifocal contact lenses. So you have a large area to be able to grow your practice, or a big area to lose money if you're not confident in fitting multifocal lenses. 11, some of my stuff is covered here, but we have about 11% of people who are 40 and over who need corrective lenses. Only 11% of those people are wearing contact lenses. And I see that in my office. I have people that for some reason that either have never been introduced, or they had some issues with contacts, you know, back in the 90s, early 2000s, and kind of dropped out and don't realize things have advanced. So that's a big space and opportunity. And cosmetic contact lenses. About 6% of people wear color contact lenses, but it's still a $1 billion industry. People are going online. So you hear me talk about a lot today. If we don't guide our patients what to do, they're going to do it. And a lot of times with these different Facebook groups, they're going to be getting information from people who are not trained to give you the valid information that you need to be able to wear contacts and things like that. Any questions? All right. More space and opportunity for younger, clearer skin. So we're talking about skin care and facials, which is going to be important because you want your spa not to only just speak to just eyes. You want to do with the skin and face around the eyes. And that's when it's going to talk about the esthetician relationship. But people spend, millions of Americans spend $500 or more on skincare products. You have people buying skincare products, going for facials regularly. That is the area that is untapped by optometrists. That's where you can make some money, okay? For instance, Rodan & Fields, which I'm a independent sales consultant for Rodan & Fields, that's a $1 billion company. You have Beauty Counter, which is $100 million. Mary Kay, $3.6 billion. I think we have an optometrist in our group, Dr. Timothy, I believe is his name. He sells Avon. That is ingenious. A man selling Avon, a man telling you what you need to look good, ingenious.
Yeah,
that's just the smartest thing ever. I know he's making that bank. And because people want to look good, feel good, and they have no problem with spending money. They find value in that. Then we move on to lash volume, extensions and serums. You know, extensions, that's the hottest thing out there. If you go down, falsies or false lashes is $270 million last year. It's expected to reach over $1.5 billion in the next 5 years. This is a trend that was around back in the day. So if you had a grandma that was a diva, you know, that really dressed up, it was a big thing, and it phased out, and mascara became the thing. I was doing some research, and the sales on mascara have gone down. People are not buying mascara. They're opting to do these different lash extensions and create volume that way. So this is a space that we definitely want to be involved in to deal with the potential complications, but also it's a space to make some money because most of the lashes that are purchased, they're purchased in drugstores. So why not be innovative and offer lashes in the office so that way you can guide, prescribe, give them an option, and then they'll know where to come when they have a complication. I'm actually looking in and working on some things now. I'm actually going to be bringing some strip lashes, magnetic lashes into my office because if they're going to go into a CVS and make money and not have anybody to consult with, I need to be on the end of that paper. That 1.5 billion, I'm going to get some of that. You can come right in my office. We're going to work together, okay? Don't let them go to the drugstore or the beauty supply store. And then also lash growth serums. They were big, they kind of phased out. And once Latisse became generic and we had a lot of different formulations coming to the market, it's another big thing. So you want to figure out how you're going to incorporate that into your practice. I like Rodan & Fields because you can actually get some money off of it. We'll talk about what's in the Rodan & Fields product and what things you want to look out for when you're recommending it for patients. But a lot of things I do, I'm going to make sure I recommend it, but at the same time, I'm making sure I get a cut because somebody else going to get some of that money. I want to make sure that I'm able to bring some of that into my practice because you see all these have millions and billions next to them. So there's a lot of room to make money and to grow your practice. So moving on, Ocular Status, how you implement. This is actually a picture of my spa. So one day I had an epiphany. And this spa used to be my office. So you can see that was a big waste of space. So I was working with a patient who was having some dry eye issues, and she came specifically to me for dry eye. We were managing her dry eye, and her concern was, with my dry eye, what am I going to do about my makeup, my mascara? I'm not going to be able to wear it. There was a study that's shown that 44% of people and women feel more comfortable when they have their makeup on. They feel good about themselves. So when you're talking about dry eye and these different diagnoses, most women, they're going to want to know. They might not ask you, but they're thinking, well, what am I going to do about my makeup? Because I don't feel myself when I don't have my makeup on. And so in the midst of treating, her questions were coming up. I asked about, is it better to get lash extensions, makeup? And we had a conversation, and then I made some recommendations. She goes, well, where do I go? So then I was quiet because I didn't have a place to recommend her to go. And she goes, well, Dr. Janelle, why don't you offer those services here? I will feel way more comfortable knowing that I'm having these services provided by a person, esthetician, that works with my doctor, because I know you're going to vet them. I will easily come in here and have any service. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, you're right. Why don't? And then the patient said, that's another way for you to make money. And I'm like, duh. So the next day I went in my office, I was sitting in my office, and I'm like, well, where am I going to find a space? Because I don't want to do an exam room, because that's not really a spa. I'm looking around my office, and I'm like, why do I have this big office? This is my spa right here. So within about 60 days, I converted my office into a spa, and right outside of my office was like a hallway that didn't have a door or a wall. I got somebody to come in, put a wall, I got a sliding barn door, and I went from my office to a nook. And that nook is perfect. That's all I need. And this space that you see back here was converted into an office. I have a pretty handy husband, so it was allowing me to be able to minimize my investment because he painted it. And most of those things that we have there, we outfitted by Amazon. Okay, so you can see you need a good space, a space that's separate in the office that you can keep quiet, so that way they're able to come in, check in, and go back into the spa. Where my spa is set up, I do have another area where they can wait there, or they can wait up front. To outfit the room, I spent about $1,000. Most of the things I bought right on Amazon was shipped right to the office, including that chair that you see sitting there. I spent money to create a wall separation because I said I had a little hallway, which was about $900. I mean, it wasn't expensive, all I did on the weekend. Spa supplies. Once I established my relationship with my esthetician, we sat down together what supplies we were going to start with. We do organic facials as well. She was able to guide me with what supplies I needed to buy. To get the really good supplies that are not going to cause issues, you usually need a license. So you're going to need a licensed esthetician, and you want to confirm with your state. In our state, all these services that you see happening and being provided, they're supposed to be provided by a licensed esthetician or a licensed cosmetologist. So if you haven't any of those services done and not one of those two, basically they're doing it illegally. But she was able to guide me on what we needed to get, what the costs were going to be, and some of those things we were able to get under her license. And then we had a launch party, and I put an asterisk by there. I think it was about $600. I didn't pay for it. I actually had sponsors that came in, two of my partners that I committed with, and they paid for the food, giveaways, and everything that we needed to have a launch party. When I first opened my spa, you want to think about your initial investments. You have a lot of disposable income, disposable revenue sitting there that you could just throw into buying a bunch of equipment, or do you want to sit back and ask yourself, what do you really need to start the treatment and diagnosing and managing of what you need in the spa? So I opted to start with the treatment part first. A lot of the diagnosing I still do manually, old school, melissamine green, sodium fluorescein, interior photos, which I already had, lid gland evaluation, expression, but I wanted to be able to diagnose but treat. So a lot of people have some equipment where they can diagnose, but then their treatment options are minimum. So I started off with the MibaFlow. It was economically worked for my office. Patients, it was a more affordable option for them. And once they're diagnosed, if we have a treatment plan, that's one of the steps in the treatment plan. So I break my investments up into phases. The next phase I'm going to bring in is a gland imaging system that's going to help with the diagnosing. Not that I can't do it, but it helps some patients to be able to see what I'm looking at. Not that they don't trust me, but a lot of times they like to be able to see it. And for those patients that might be over on the fence, we're not completely symptomatic, if they can see some of the things that I can see, sometimes I help with getting them into the treatment program. This is just some pictures. I do have some signage up on the outside of my door, of my windowing, to show that we have a spa. My spa has a separate name. So it's Premier Dry Eye Spa and Cosmetic Eye Care. And I say it's located inside of Brilliant Eyes Vision Center. So I advertise and market as this is a service that's within the office. And I use the coin convenient, safe, enhancements, meaning everything is going to be vetted by your doctor, your eye doctor, and it's convenient, basically a one-stop shop. You can see I've added a mat, I have Alexa in there. We do have the essential oils, the mister. It's literally like a spa. Usually when my staff gets here, they'll get everything running, have the lights low. We have peppermint scent. And so when people walk into there, they want to feel like they're walking into something different than what we're doing our regular eye care and our glasses. The young lady that I'm standing next to, that's our licensed esthetician. That's one of our licensed estheticians. She's here every Wednesday from 11 to 7, 2 Sundays a month. And I'm actually meeting with another esthetician this weekend. We're thinking about bringing her in on Saturdays. You don't need somebody here every day. How to implement. You want to decide what you're going to offer. We call our dry eye treatment a dry eye treatment program. So we have a protocol to diagnose and a protocol to treat. We have an in-office protocol and at home. So our program is that there are things that we're going to do in office, but there are things that you're going to need to do at home to ensure that your eyes reach the level of comfort that we need it to be to help keep your cornea as healthy as possible and reduce your severe symptoms. We do offer lid and lash rejuvenation. Most of these things you do, a lot of times finding the way to word what you're doing goes a long way. So lid cleaning, lid, lash rejuvenation, that's BlephX or Lid Pro. We're cleaning the lids, but we don't want to tell them we're doing a BlephX or a Lid Pro. That doesn't go a long way with a lot of people, especially women. We do brow service. We do individual lash extensions. And we have an esthetician, just some of her background. She actually graduated a biology degree. She used to want to be a doctor. So talking to her, she's not your run-of-the-mill esthetician, but she realized that's where her heart wasn't there. So she ended up going and getting her esthetician degree. So we have a very great synergy where, a client for her may end up in her chair. She knows how to evaluate. If it doesn't look healthy, she won't provide the service. She'll tell them that they'll need to schedule an exam with Dr. Janelle to look at the lid margin, get things clean, treat the dry eye before we will do any services, and vice versa. I have a patient now who we've gotten her dry eye very managed. Things are going well. She's very interested in getting lash extensions for the holidays. I consulted with my esthetician to let her know that she's going to be making an appointment. And so when the patient made the appointment, she was talking to Sam, and she felt confident, okay, Sam has talked to my doctor. She knows what I can and cannot do. So therefore, I can at least get these lashes, at least for the holidays, and feel comfortable that I won't make anything worse. We do offer lash lifts and tints. You want to think about your pricing. What are you going to do for your pricing for your dry exam, your consultations? How are you going to price your treatments versus in-home versus in the office? And what spa services you will offer. We start off with basic organic facial and brow and then lash extensions. Surprisingly, a lot of people get the facials. So if you do a spa, you definitely want to make sure you have somebody that is confident in doing organic facials. A lot of patients like that because self-care is a big thing. And then want to talk a lot about strategic partnerships. Your esthetician you want them to be a partner. There's several ways that you can set up your partnership. They could be employed. I know some doctors, like dermatologists, that hire a medical assistant who is an esthetician that works along as one of her techs, and then they are employed. Or you can have it where she gets, our setup is that she gets a percentage, or I get a percentage for her services. So I provide the space, I provide the materials. She does all the services on her end. My dry eye services have nothing to do with her, but because she's using my space and my materials, I get a cut. So ours is 60-40. So I get 40% of everything she does, even though I don't do anything and I'm not licensed to do any of that, but I'm providing the space, the opportunity, and I'm able to refer patients to her that could become her clients. And then you can have a situation where you rent space. Sam is licensed by the state of Georgia. She has her own license and things that she needs to keep up. We pay her. She has her own entity, and she's responsible for her own taxes. So you can set your partnership up how it's going to work out for you. And she has another full-time job that she does. So this is kind of on her off day and on the weekends, and she does this. Another partnership that I have is one of my dry eye partners. We talked about in the beginning, Lenovis. When we do our in-home therapy, I do like to make sure whatever I recommend for patients is easy for them to get. And then I always like to make sure when I'm recommending certain things, it's easy for them to get, but it's also a way to bring revenue back into the office. So for instance, you can purchase a lot of inventory. Let's say you want to do like OcuSoft. You can easily go buy OcuSoft wipes, have those in the office, but that's a lot of investment you have to do up front to get an ROI. Most people know me. I'm not cheap, I'm frugal. I'm not quick to do a lot of inventory, because if you have a lot of inventory of anything, you have to move that. That's just money sitting there. And a lot of times you make decisions because you're just trying to get a product out. And if you don't make a decision, get the product out, it's just sitting there. So it's a lost money. So I'm big on any partnership that's going to allow me to be able to make a recommendation, prescribe it, get it easily to my patient. I don't inventory, but guess what? I still get a cut. Okay, so that's one thing I like about Lenovo. It's a product that program is similar to things like PRN, but they have a wide range of things that they offer, not just supplements. And one is a lid wipe and foam that is coconut oil and tea tree oil. So that's a great additive when you're using in your dry eye treatment, especially if you're using lashes and lash extensions. They have a doctor home program that you sign the patient up in the office. It's shipped to them regularly. And every time they get a shipment, you get a reimbursement or back into your office. So you get a check, okay? And the more things you have going through there, the bigger your check is. So they're able to do wipes and foams, vitamins. So pretty much anything that I offer, whether it's dry eye, whether it's vitamins for diabetes, I'm always making sure I don't have to inventory it. There's an easy portal that I can put patients in right in the office. They'll make a prescription pad for me so the patient can walk it up to the front. They're put into that portal. They're put on an automatic system. And every month I'm collecting the check. So those are the kind of partnerships that you want to look at when you're starting your eye spa, especially because as a small business, you have to be very conscious of a lot of inventory. You already got inventory with frames. I don't need anything else. It's just going to sit, and that I have to make sure that it's getting out of the office. That's in the picture of Sam. So Ocular Aesthetics and how to capture. How do you start? So you got all this stuff. You have these ideas. So what do? We screen everybody every day for dry eye. Most of us is doing this. I prefer to use the OSDI. I've tried the speed. I prefer the OSDI. It is a little bit more repeatable for me. I like the fact that the OSDI for Allergan is on the app. So therefore, we're able to put it right on the iPad. We give it to the patient in the pre-test area. It looks cool that they had an iPad, they're answering these questions, and they spit out a number. People like numbers. So they have the number. They're like, oh, well, what does this number mean? My staff is trained a certain number that they give them information automatically on a brochure about dry eye, whether it's a dry eye brochure, whether it's a brochure on omega-3s, whether it's a brochure on marble flow. You better give them something that's relative to this dry eye treatment program, so they know that when I walk into the room, I'm looking at this number. I look at this number for everybody. My cutoff is 21 and up. I think I'm going to move it down. I see kids, not a lot, but even 16, I had a 19-year-old, one of my staff he was like some downtown, she gave it to him, and his number actually came up higher, and I actually saw blepharitis, and that's part of the reason why his OSDI number was up. But we screen everybody, every visit, every time, not just full eye exams, because you could be coming back 6 months for me to check your cataracts. We're screening every time you come in my office, you're 21 and up. We always evaluate the lid margin and lash margin. I'm sure everybody is doing that, but are you evaluating? Are you making recommendations? Are you just looking, or do you only make recommendations if they're a contact lens patient? No, I look every time, every patient. Half of my patients I actually diagnose with blepharitis and mites are men. You know, most men, women, we around our eyes, but a lot of times we do wipe and clean. A lot of men don't necessarily do that. They wipe their face, but they're not really into those lid margins like they should. So I'm looking lids and lash margins every visit, every patient, every time. If I see something, I react. And most patients, even if I see 1 or 2 blepharitis or mites, I am prescribing lid wipes or foam. And that's a picture of the wipe that I use there through the Lenovis. Patients, if they are wearing false lashes, I'm making recommendations. Doctors, you can make recommendations. You know, they do want to protect their investment. They do have to understand this is not like jeans where you try to wear them a couple of times before you wash them because you don't want them to fade. After those bonds seal on those extensions, you need to be cleaning that lash every single day. You need to use something that's not going to break the bonds, which We Love Eyes is another good one. Blepharitis foam won't, and you want to use a foam when you wear lashes and a special brush. So we make sure we provide those for patients. But you do want to make sure you are recommending something that's not going to break their bonds, because they're going to be mad, because they want to protect their investment, because most of the time they're spending upwards of $100 or more every couple of weeks. And you want to start the conversation. You want to ask them, are they having any irritation of their eyes? If they have, if you start a conversation, your protocol is your OSDI hit a certain number, you bringing them back to do, you know, some more diagnostic testing, like if you have the Oculus 5 and things like that, or are you automatically, because they're OSDI or they're and they may be symptomatic, you're adding lissamine green and sodium fluorescein. I try to do, you know, much as I can that day, so I can automatically enroll them in a dry eye treatment program, which we're going to start treating those symptoms that dry eye to be able to manage those problems. Then you have the patients that are symptomatic versus asymptomatic. Whether they're symptomatic or not, if I see risks that would increase their chances of dry eye, then I'm still recommending something. Most of my patients, we're screening. The only time you may not get a conversation is if you're OSDI 0, and even then, I'm still going to tell you what to look out for. I ask how much time you spend on the computer, letting know what your risks are so they know to come back, because we have those conversations. We're able to treat the dry eye. We're able to deal with the fact that they want to be able to have lash extensions and color lenses and things like that. To treat, my protocol is pretty simple after you diagnose, and this is not a lecture on what dry eye is, the pathogenesis, and how to treat. We're all doctors. If you don't know, you can go to some different seminars, but I like to read. I just read, look at my patient base, and then figure out what's going to work for my office. So it's pretty simple. We reduce the biofilm. So you want to do some amount of bacteria on the lid margin. That's keeping the lid margin clean. We're knowing now that the lid margin, as well as the glands and the lashes, are important to keep the eyes hydrated. So reduce the biofilm, open the glands, protect and heal the cornea. That's easily, if you start to see some superficial keratitis, that's when you may want to implement some of your membranes. You want to reduce ocular inflammation, increase tear production. I put an asterisk by that. You know, you're thinking a lot of times your Xiidra or your Restasis there. A lot of my patients, I'm really controlling their lid margin and their lashes. I don't have a lot of patients that I necessarily have to prescribe prescription medication for. If I do, my first go-to usually is Xiidra. Most of my patients on a 30 to 60 days of Xiidra, I'm significantly reducing the inflammation, and by default, that tear production is going to increase. And a lot of times they're doing great. I don't necessarily have a lot of people on long-term prescription drops unless they have underlying autoimmune conditions, and some of those patients are a little bit difficult to manage, and they have to be on, you know, a little bit more advanced therapy. Then you want to increase in essential oils. So you do want to have the conversation about omega-3s. It's important for patients to understand that the omega-3 needs to be re-esterified. You remove that alcohol base so it is absorbed. We know Northern Naturals, we know PRN, also Lunavis offers one under Tear Support Plus. So it has to be Tear Support Plus. It is re-esterified, and it has also omega-7 in it, along with vitamin D. So it's a great supplement to add to your dry eye treatment protocol. And then for the home therapy, you would provide the tools and educate the patient. So they want to be able to continue the warm compresses at home. They want to be able to easily get their lid scrubs and wipes. A lot of times, if it is over the counter, you don't at least sell it in your office. A lot of times they don't even make it to the drugstore to get it. And if they get it, what happens, what I like about, you know, automatic ship, because I'm bad about it, something will run out and I'm just so busy, I don't have time to get to CVS and pick up my medications half of the time. So I opt for CVS Caremark. I tell my doctor, don't even waste your time, just send it straight to Caremark so that it's sent to me and I don't have to think about it. So that's why I like the programs where they're automatically debited and sent, and then they're more than likely to be compliant with your recommendations. And then you want to follow up every 3 to 4 months. So there's revenue, there's money to be made. If you're seeing patients every 4 months at an intermediate visit, you see the money there. The diagnostic scans, if you have your Oculus 5, you have a LipoScan, LipoView, you're able to charge out of pocket for those things. And these are just ranges. Your in-office treatments, when I have gland treatments, I'm talking about there's several ways. You have the Multifocal, you have the Eyelashes, you have the LipoFlow. I mean, there's numerous ways that you can treat the glands, numerous ways you can treat the lids, Lid Pro, Blefx. There's money to be made. Punta plugs, anterior sets, amniotic membranes. There is room to make money implementing just dry eye. Then the home treatment and cosmetics. So if you do offer like beauty counter, Rodan fills, all those things you don't inventory, but guess what? You get a cut. So when patients are asking you about mascaras, and then they'll ask you, then they'll say, what can I get that? And then you're sitting there like, go to CVS. Don't send them to the drugstore. Tell them, hey, I'm a Rodan field consultant. Or, hey, I'm a beauty counter consultant. You can get it from me. You can go online and order it here. Spa services. additional $1,000 to more a month, depending on how often your esthetician is coming in, as well as the agreement that you have set up. And then doctor home programs, that's additional checks. So as these patients, the more and more people you have into these doctor home programs, for instance, I have about 50 patients right now in my doctor home program. So I have 50 patients who've come in, they're either in my full dry eye treatment program or they wear contact lenses, because all my contact lens patients, you need your lids clean. They're signing up. They're walking right out and signing up. The Novus helps patients to easily get into this program. Sometimes they have sample programs, but they're very cost effective and you don't really get much pushback. Every now and then you have some patients who don't like to do automatic debit. I will keep on like maybe 5 or 6 bottles of foam in the office. So if you don't want to do the wipes, you can purchase the foam right here and there, and then at least get going with it. So it's easy money to be made, easy options for revenue to come in the office, and you're just sitting back and you're helping the patients, but you don't have to inventory all this stuff. So I definitely like those options. Of course, with anything, there's complications. Wearing contact lenses, there's complications. I started wearing contacts in the 90s when it was the conventional ones that you have to put in the enzyme cleaner. To this day, I don't even see how that was legal. I mean, I'm surprised I still have my eyes. So same with lashes and strips and serums and lash lifts. There are complications. But guess what? People are doing these things. So we need to make sure that we're educating them so they know which option is best for them to minimize their risk and to minimize escalating any other conditions they may already have going on. And patients would appreciate that for you. You don't want to be the doctor who's like the parent that's like, no, you're not going to get lashes. I don't believe in that. That's not healthy for you. Okay, well, guess what? They're going to do it. Just like some kids will be rebellious and go sneak out the back door. You want to say, hey, this based on looking at your eyes today, this is what I would recommend. If you're going to do these things, and I would say that maybe you don't get frequent refills, that you maybe wear them once and then go a couple months without them. If they're going to do the lash serums, they need to know the risk associated with the lash serums. For instance, with the Latisse, it can change the color of their iris. It can cause application irritation at the site of the lid margin, some redness. If they're going to do a Rodan Fields, which is a synthetic version of a prostaglandin, you get a lot of the same potential complications. If those are an issue, then you want to offer them a Zora intensifying lash serum that has no additives. It's mainly polypeptides. It's just strengthening. It may not get the same full effect as the other lash serums, but it's an option. I have patients on those. So you want to be able to give patient options, not just put your foot down and say, this is not healthy for you to have complications. Permanent makeup. I don't do that in my spa, and that's one thing I'm not a fan of, but there are people out there who are getting permanent makeup, so you want to be able to guide them as much as possible, let them know what the risks are. A lot of it is atopic keratitis right on the front surface of the eye, some irritation there. And the thing about those permanent makeups, once those things are there, it's hard to minimize complications. And that's not as popular as it used to be. It's more on the brow. They used to be doing like permanent liner. That's not as popular. I think a lot of people realize that that's not really a good thing to do. It is more common in Asian populations, but I still even think then it's not as popular as it used to maybe be 5 to 6 years ago. Lash lifts are another thing that's becoming popular for individuals who can't do the extensions. Lash lift is a peroxide base. It's almost like a perm on the lashes. You do want to make sure if that's going to be done, that is definitely something that you do not want to try at home, because a lot of these things you can buy on Amazon. You need to have a licensed esthetician performing those services. And that way they can make sure that the concentrations are correct and that you don't cause any potential issues, right? Strips have complications, lash fallout, abrasion. Some of these are minimum. A lot of times it's patients doing things and they're not trained and they're trying to cut corners. Usually if these things are done by a licensed person, you reduce a lot of the issues. And if you want to learn more, actually the review of optometry that came out in November talks about some of the dangers associated with a lot of the trends associated with lashes and lash lift. 2 great articles in there. In office and at home lid maintenance. So page 52 and 58, I definitely would say if you haven't read that for November review of optometry, go ahead and get that. It's a plethora of knowledge if you're really thinking about bringing in a eye spa. So I think the eye spa really works when you do more than just dry eye. A lot of people get a LipiFlow or a marble flow and think they throw a blanket on them and a warming blanket. That's not a spa. A spa is somewhere you're going to go, you're going to get self-care, you're going to be able to relax. And I think implementing the facials, the other services that a lot of women want, and a lot of men, I've had men come and get facials as well. It's very different and innovative if your eye doctor is providing those things, and you're making sure that they're not increasing potential issues. And therefore, if they do have an issue that's real, they can easily be treated. I've had a patient that had a potential issue, my esthetician's on the phone calling me. So it's like you have this great synergistic relationship that people can enhance their beauty, feel good about themselves, and not feel like they're doing something wrong, and they can have that conversation with their eye doctor. That's all I have on my slides. I'm going to try to get out. I think Darryl and Adam will let me know if there's any questions that anybody may have.
We do have questions. So people have chimed in with the questions. So thank you guys. First of all, I want to say thank you. That was an excellent presentation. I learned a little bit, being the guys, I don't really know as much about the beauty area of this. So that educated me, and hopefully you can answer some of the questions that people were asking here. So do you use or prescribe Lumify in your office? And at what point are you adding in Lumify to your treatment regimen or for patients?
So I do offer Lumify. I use that as like a spot treatment. Most of my patients, if you're having constant redness, then more than likely your eyes are dry. So I have it, for instance, I had a patient come in today that her dry eye's been doing well, but she has been getting a lot of sleep for work. So she wakes up with red eyes, and sometimes she doesn't want to go to work with a red eye. So in those cases is when I'm implementing the Lumify, but it's not big on my treatment plan, because if you're having constant red eyes, then 9 out of 10, you need to really get in and look at that lid margin, make sure those glands, look at those oil glands, because there's a reason why the eyes are red. I had a gentleman that had constant red eye. I brought him in. We started a dry eye treatment program. We did the marble flow on him. His redness has significantly reduced. He uses Lumify now as needed. So I do have it, but it's not, it's not the treatment. You want to deal with the condition and use that if they have some spot redness, so they can get through the day and feel comfortable.
Okay. And you mentioned the permanent eyeliner. Now, is it something for patients that were having irritation from makeup? Do you think there's a benefit to them doing the permanent eyeliner over having the irritation and the medication and the other issues that can come with using medication regularly or makeup regularly?
That's a great question. Usually, if you're having irritation with the makeup, I wouldn't opt that you go get permanent, like a tattoo, because there's more complications associated with that. Being a woman, I wear makeup, so I'm a girly girl, diva all the way. You want to look at where you're purchasing your makeup. You want to make sure that that you're cleaning your lid margin. Sometimes you can't buy makeup, for instance, maybe I'm just calling it Wet n Wild. That's like $1.99. You can't switch back and forth between different mascaras and makeup. They're not all created the same, just like contact lens solutions. They're not all created the same. So usually I wouldn't opt to get permanent makeup. We want to look at the makeup that you're using and see if we can make a better recommendation for you. And even still, I'm looking at the lid margin to make sure there's no early signs of blepharitis, there's no Demodex, there's nothing that's causing that makeup to be irritated, to irritate the front surface.
Would you ever consider selling makeup in the office? And if so, how do you go about when patients ask me, okay, I'm getting irritation from this brand, what do you know anything that I should be looking for or telling them about to avoid in other brands of makeup? Because sometimes you can look on, Rihanna got that Fenty that, went crazy. Mm-hmm. People trying to figure out, okay, is this what I'm supposed to use? Am I supposed to use that? Because in my office, what I try to tell them to use the travel sizes so that you're switching it out more often, and the smaller ones, and then changing the brushes and the pads, because they don't want to throw away the whole makeup. Sometimes I can get them to throw away the brushes and the pads and start there, because they're like, hold on, I spent $50 for that. You want me to throw it away? And I'm like, well, can you get a new brush instead? And they're like, I'll meet you halfway. I get a new brush in that same bottle. But would you ever think of selling makeup in the office?
Oh, I do. I sell mascara right now. I sell it under Zora. Zora has a great mascara for sensitive eyes.
Is that the Ocusoft one? Is that Zoria, like the Ocusoft? Or that's
Yes, Zoria. Yes, Ocusoft. I sell that in the office.
okay.
Yes, I sell that in the office, the mascara. So with makeup, you know, a lot of things come out, and I usually tell women to stick to what you know. You want to go to a lot of times a makeup counter. I don't sell like eyeshadows, only sell the mascara. But when I wear makeup, you want to go to like a makeup counter. You want to be able to try the makeup with a professional at the makeup counter, and then you can't necessarily try everything that comes out. You know, everybody's skin is not created the same. Everything is not formulated the same. A lot of the makeups have formaldehyde in them. Some of them are more natural. If I have patients that have a lot of issues with makeup, I usually recommend prescriptives and Clinique. So usually if you have issues with makeup, you're gonna have to spend some money. You definitely can't go over the counter. And yes, Dr. Ramsey, makeup is not cheap. So when you try to tell somebody to throw it away, you get a side eye.
Yeah, I
So
know.
what I recommend, you wanna find a mascara for sensitive eyes. So Aloe, Zoria, or even Maybelline has a good one if you have to do over the counter. And then usually any of your higher end products like Chanel, you're not going to have issues with those. It's going to be formulated well. It's a lot of times you have problems. There's a lot of the over the counter ones that you may get in CVS sometimes or Walgreens. And once you find something that works, I really advocate don't switch. Just like contact lens solutions, you just can't try everything that pop up because one of your friends are using it. If the makeup works, it gives you the enhancement that you need, then you need to stick with that. Unless it goes out of business, otherwise there's really no reason for you to keep switching up different manufacturers. Yes, your brushes, you should be cleaning your brushes. You never have to throw them away, but you want to disinfect and clean them at least weekly. Every other day, you should be cleaning your brushes. If you look at your brush and you can't remember the last time you purchased it, then you probably need to throw that away and start over and get a whole new set of brushes. Nowadays, you can get sets of brushes at TJ Maxx, Marshalls. I tell women it costs money to be cute. If you got a nickel and dime being cute and enhancing, then it's not for you. Just like with contacts, you got a nickel and dime. You know, if you got to squeeze and pinch, then maybe you don't need to do contact lenses. There's certain things you just don't want to jeopardize overall health and appearance trying to enhance, right? So you do need to make sure you're cleaning your brushes and stick with one brand.
Now, since starting this, have you had any pushback from patients, or has it all been positive? Like, I could see if I try to add this in, you're like, what you know about makeup, what you know about this, and you know that kind of thing. So, I mean, me being a guy, maybe that might be different than you. But have you had any pushback from patients?
For me, being a girl, no, I have not. A woman, and I'm a woman that wears makeup. So a lot of women, I think, we, man or woman, makeup or not, I think you need to set the tone that it's okay to at least ask you the question because they want to know and they're curious and they want guidance from the eye doctor. Because the thing is like, well, I'm going around my eye. Who else can I ask instead of getting on a Facebook group and getting information from random people? So with me, I think it's a little bit easier because not only am I a woman, but I wear makeup. I say I got purple lipstick on right now. I always wear shadow. But I sometimes initiate the conversation and a lot of things just read. Like some of these magazines, the review of optometry, that is a great article that's laid it out with pretty much anything around the eye, all the different trends that are out today. The doctor did a very great job. That's a good place to start. Ask your wife. So that way, when these women, and you're a man or you're a woman who does not wear makeup, then you should be comfortable asking the questions, answering the questions. Like I don't wear contact lenses right now because I have LASIK, but I still can have those conversations with a patient who wants to know about contact lenses. In my case, no pushback. It's all been positive, like a sigh of relief, because I have somebody I'm looking at that's wearing makeup. So I probably can ask her about makeup. She's definitely going to be able to give me some options. And now she's telling me I can get these things that kind of have question marks around them or kind of taboo, that I can get them done here, and it's going to be a licensed esthetician. And if there's a problem, the esthetician is going to call her. What better way to be able to try lash extensions for the first time? I've tried lash extensions. I mean, I'm lazy. I just want to be able to put my mascara on. I don't want to have to sleep cute. And there's some work. You can't sleep all on your face. There's things that you have to do. I don't have time for that. I need my sleep. It's already minimum. So when I get it, I need it. But some people, that's what they do. And if they know that you can have that conversation with them. I had a patient the other day. I asked her, so I look, and if the lashes look thin and falling out, I started to ask them, have you thought about lash volume? And we have the conversation. They may not do anything, but she said, oh, this just comes out of you so naturally. And I just feel, I'm glad I was able to have the conversation with you. I may not do anything, but I was glad to have the conversation. Then she next started asking my bow tie. So I was like, that's another thing I need to bring into the office. I've tried it, it's just finding the right doctor to work with. But people want to know, you don't want them in a back alley or at a Botox party and some random person doing Botox and putting lashes on. They just want to know that it's an option. They've been educated on it, so now they can make an educated decision on their enhancement options if they want.
All right, I'm all for you. Is there a difference in irritation for people that do individual lashes versus the strips of lashes? And do you do both of those in your office?
Currently, right now, we do not do the strip in the office, but early 2020, Q1, I will be selling strips in the office. So it's different how you put them on. So individual lashes, a synthetic lash is put on each individual lash. That it takes skill, and the licensed esthetician should be doing that. And it can take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. So this is the time
to put on some lashes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Individually, she's individually putting that on each lash. 2 hours. Lay it up in there. 2 hours.
Oh my God.
That's why you need a spa. 2 hours. So that's why they make good money, because they're charging for that, and women are lining up to do it. So it's done on each individual lash. Both of them involve glue. You do want to make sure that the glue is safe around the eye and does not have any formaldehyde or any other additives that may irritate the eye. When you're doing the lash extensions, what you want is an esthetician, number one, but two, she can do a patch test. So then she just does it on one lash, give you 24 hours to see how you do, to see if you have any irritation. Most irritation is minimum. I've had it. Honestly, I didn't get a lot of irritation. It just was different having something on my eyes. It was just different in that aspect. But most irritation might get some redness of the eye. That's minimum. If you are sensitive to glue, a lot of times you won't know, even if it is glue, it does not have the formaldehyde in it until you have it done. So if you're a person that's usually sensitive to different makeups, different scents, that you have sensitive skin, then you definitely want to have that patch test where they just put it on one lash before they go in and put it on all those lashes. And the individual can be anywhere from 50 to 200 lashes, depending on the look that you're getting. A strip is a strip. It's a strip of synthetic lashes that is put on with a lash adhesion, a glue. And once again, you want to make sure it's formaldehyde free and no other additives. So you want to make sure that a lot of estheticians will do that too. They'll usually do that if they're doing like a makeup or makeover for you. But a lot of this stuff, you can just walk in CVS again. That's what you want to be careful about. So that's why instead of having patients just walk into a drugstore, I want to be able to vet and guide and say, if you're going to do it, whether you purchase it out here, because I know what it is, I know what it does not have in it, and then you know where to come if you have an issue.
And that's the same thing, like if they did, you mentioned the eyeliner that's magnetic, so they put the eyeliner on and then the lashes attached to that.
Yes.
Is that what you're planning on bringing in?
That's what I'm looking in to bring in. I'm still working to find different companies that are formaldehyde free and more of a natural far as the eyeliner. So do I want to do the liner? And there's some where you actually have where you have two lashes that you put on and they adhere to each other. That one takes a little bit more weight on the lashes. So I'm still looking at it. That's what I'm looking to bring it in, but I'm just trying to find the right company. Okay. Now, maybe partner with the Ocular Plastic that's already found a company. So we'll see. Stay tuned for that.
Still got more. Hope you're ready. So can the lashes be put on in an exam room, or do you have to have a separate room?
No. First of all, if you put on an exam room, no woman's going to take you seriously. Second of all, because it's a 2-hour process, you do want to have a comfortable chair. So just like when you go get a massage, unless you're getting one of those seated massages in the mall, you're in a special massage bed. So our chair that you saw in the other screen, it does go all the way back. It's an 1.5 to 2 hour process. So the patient needs to be comfortable and the esthetician needs to be comfortable. So yes, you do need to have a spa chair, preferably a heated spa chair that massages. You don't have to get one of those big souped up ones. You can buy a regular spa chair and just add that massager and heater onto the chair. But yes, it should not be done in the exam room. I think that would take away from the effect, because you want to make sure the person is comfortable. They want to feel like they're in the spa.
Okay. What about lash tinting? Did you go over that today?
I did mention it. That is a service that is offered here, lash tinting and lash lift. They are peroxide based, so those tend to potentially have a higher risk of irritation, right? And those have to be done. It should be done by esthetician. I won't say have to because you can go order it straight on Amazon. And the issues with those, the severe complications are people doing them themselves at home. But we just brought the lash tint and lift in 2 months ago. We've had two of our clients do it and they did well. They haven't had any issues. But usually if you get an issue, it's kind of like you're treated the same way you would do a chemical. You want to make sure you reduce the inflammation with the topical steroid. The only thing about the tinting as well as the lift, the chemical is there the life of the lash. So if you have irritation, you're not going to be able to go in and wipe it off. You'll have to treat any of the symptoms and then let it go through the life of the lash. So if you have to do something, I prefer individuals or even a strip or a really good mascara. I would even take a serum over a lash lift or tint, but it's done. And I'm like, if you're going to do it, I'd rather you not go in the back room at some Walmart or spa that is not a licensed esthetician. I need you to have it done by somebody that can get in contact with the doctor immediately.
Okay, couple more. Have you heard about Doctor's RX formula where you can private label your the lash enhancements and different
Yes.
things, and they have a formula for under eye circle darkening for women's eyes. And do you use or prescribe anything like that for dark circles around women's eyes?
I do recommend creams for dark circles under women's eyes, but it's not under Doctor's RX. I actually use active hydration with Rodan and Fields is what I use,
Okay.
and their scale regimens. But yeah, I'm familiar with the Doctor's RX. I do recommend some things from them, but right now I'm not doing their lash serum or the under eye circle.
Okay. Um, have you done? Have you looked into IPL for like acne rosacea and other things to add into your ocular aesthetics?
I'm very familiar with those. Right now, I do everything in tiers, and that's not one of my tiers. I'm not willing to make that investment just yet for those, not for IPL. But I'm definitely aware of it, just like most of us are. And that goes back to how much disposable income you have and what level you're trying to start at with their spa. Yeah, but that's definitely an option. But I don't have those services at my office now.
And the last question is, so what's next? You went over all this stuff. It sounds like you're doing amazing. And what else can we expect from you in 2021? Thinking further out. How do you take it to the next level? You've done an excellent job converting that room, and you're going to add in more dates and times when you're not there, or other times when the office can make money. But what's next? How do you grow this?
So the next step is I want to partner regularly with the ocular plastics to come into the office so they can administer. Since Georgia, we got injections, but they purposely left us off of Botox. That's a
Okay.
whole other conversation. So I want to partner with the Ocular Aesthetics doctor. I've tried some things with the Botox as well as fillers, blepharoplasties. I want to be able to offer those things right here, not necessarily have to refer out. So that's a goal of probably, hopefully, into 2020, 2021. I'm still establishing relationships. I had a really good doctor, but she's just not local. She lives in South Carolina, so I'm trying to find the right partnership here in Atlanta. That's the next step with that. And then just stand abreast of any enhancements that are out, that people are doing, that are trending around the eye, to make sure I'm the first to understand about what's going on. And if you're going to get it done, I have a place where you can have those services done. So that way you're doing it and you're keeping your eyes safe and healthy. And that way it's another way to bring in revenue into the office. I am looking at some new things to do outside of ocular aesthetics. I'm kind of still working on my treatment program and just tweaking those things, but I think we pretty much have our flow. But I'm stepping back into the optical now, and I'm working on some things to make it easier to come up with charges. So stay tuned to that. So if you have some staff turnover or you are shorthanded, there's no reason that you can't easily get out there and get your charges calculated. So I'm working on that and some more consulting things. I want to get more out on the market and be able to talk to doctors and establish more relationships like I have with Lenovis.
Okay, well, that is great. I do not have any more questions. You did a really good job of answering a lot of questions that people would have had there, and then the ones that did came in, you did a really good job of answering that. So thank you so much for coming on today. I want you to let us know how you want people to contact you. Where can they get in contact if there's a patient out there that wants to learn? That's one thing. Another doctor that wants to get engaged, a company that wants to get at you. What ways can they reach you? What social media platforms are you on? Give us a
I'm on
run.
every social media platform. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. I use that Google me, you're gonna find me. But easiest way is email. I care at drjanelleod.com. Email me. I check my email regularly. Messenger, that's usually how we communicate with Darryl. So hit me up on a message. I'm pretty much on every social media platform. Keep my phone nearby. Not a big talker on the phone, but I can get an email and respond and those things really quick, even with the
Email.
kids being around being loud. So I care at drjanelleod.com or pretty much any social media platform I'm on it. You can find me on there and hit me a message. DM me, as I would say.
Okay. Well, once again, I want to thank you for coming on. This was a great topic on ocular aesthetics, and we are going to record. This has been recorded. This will be uploaded, so those who missed the beginning part of it will be able to go back and look at that part. So thank you again. This was amazing. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. Thank you. God bless you. Good night, guys. Thank you.